Okay, for legal purposes, I would just like to start off by saying that every controversial claim I make about Todrick Hall in this video is, of course, alleged. Every claim that I do discuss in this video will be supported by a source, and every source that I have at my disposal will be available for you to view for yourself in the description down below, and in the interest of fairness, I will always present Todrick's side of the story whenever that point of view is available. The reason why I'm making this video is because I feel like there is a lot of misinformation surrounding Todrick's story, and Todrick himself has said just as much. And so I'm going to do my due diligence to the best of my ability to represent all of the facts in each situation that we discuss today. If you think I missed something, if you think I got something wrong, feel free to come on over to twitter.com and yell at me at my new account handle at Kayla Says More, and you can also connect with me at all the social media available in the link tree down below. Thanks so much. Todrick Hall has always been a really interesting figure to me in pop culture because the way that most people talk about him is akin to like a wacky Saturday morning cartoon sideshow villain.
He poisoned our water supply, burned our crops, and delivered a plague unto our houses!
If you're unfamiliar with who Todrick Hall is, he was a YouTuber who got popular in like the early 2010s, around 2011 or so. He would make these super popular musical skits and sketches, a lot of Disney stuff, a lot of Wizard of Oz related stuff. He had a stint on American Idol at one point, back when Cara DeLaGuardia was a judge on the show. Anybody remember that? And he later pivoted that into other forms of viral content creation. He choreographed a lot of flash mobs and stuff like that. He's had a couple of Broadway stints here and there, and I first became aware of him when he started getting involved in the sphere of RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, this is kind of funny to have to explain in retrospect because not all of you were here for that era of this channel, but RuPaul's Drag Race is my favorite show, and I used to do a lot of commentary on here about it back in the day. And over time, Todrick sort of became ingrained in that show's community and ecosystem. He has guest judged on the show, he has appeared in music videos with RuPaul, he choreographed numbers for the show as well. I have even discussed him on this channel before in relation to a little show called The Real Friends of WeHo, which is another controversy in the Drag Race sphere. Head over to that video if you want a little bit more of a deep dive. And here's what I will say after watching him through that lens over the years. I think he is very talented. I think he's a pretty strong choreographer. I think he's a good performer. He has a good visual eye. He knows how to make viral content. Like, he's good at what he does. In the personality department, I feel like a lot of people are rubbed the wrong way by him because you can tell he also feels that he is good at what he does. And you know, people naturally tend to gravitate towards celebrities who are humble rather than celebrities who are very forthcoming about the fact that they think that they can do it all. It is also worth noting here that Todrick has found his own success in the Hollywood industry as a queer black man, which is an experience that I cannot speak to, and so people who call him out for being cocky could be experiencing an inherent bias in the sense that performers of color are often held to a higher standard than their white counterparts. And like, we can criticize Todrick for his actions, which I will get into, but what we're not gonna do is be straight up fucking racist or homophobic or whatever. I will delete those comments, I'm not dealing with that shit. Now that being said, Todrick has a pretty heavy history of allegedly scamming people out of various things. A history that he has repeatedly denied for what it's worth, but there is a paper trail, and so we will begin to sort through it, going back as far as 2010, around the time of his American Idol days. According to several articles from around this time, which are all linked in the description down below, Todrick at one point was planning to travel the country with a production of a remake of The Wizard of Oz that he wrote and directed. According to these articles, he was charging parents of children to star as munchkins and flying monkeys in the production, and they all paid a performance fee of $75. But then the production never actually came to fruition, and according to many of these parents who were interviewed for these articles, they never got their money back. So if you're ever reading about Todrick on Reddit or something and you see the joke that he stole from kids, this is typically what people are referring to. Now, this could have been an isolated incident. You know, you're young, you're 24, you're auditioning for American Idol, you're trying to get people to vote for you. You are simply too overwhelmed to put on a production of The Wizard of Oz that is not actually The Wizard of Oz. We've all been there. But unfortunately for Todrick's reputation, this incident was not as isolated as he probably would have liked it to be. Trying my best to go in chronological order here, but there have been numerous reports over the years of Todrick failing to pay his dancers, his employees. Basically, a lot of people who have worked with him have come forward and said that he owes them some form of compensation in some right. A lot of those allegations can be found in this Business Insider article from 2019, which is, once again, you guessed it, linked linked in the description down below. According to this article, rumors of Todrick Hall not paying his dancers first came up in around 2019 when Todrick was on Twitter defending Taylor Swift from Scooter Braun of all people. Side note, whatever happened to Scooter Braun? What is he doing now? Like, where did he go? Anyway, now it's worth noting here that a lot of these current tweets lead to dead ends. I'm not sure if Todrick deleted his Twitter account or if these tweets were deleted specifically. And this is kind of a weird point in the culture, I guess, because a lot of people were still defending Scooter Braun, including Allison Scarinzi, who accused him of stealing from his fans on his Christmas tour, and that she has got screenshots of unpaid cast members who allegedly worked with Todrick Hall, who at that point had yet to be paid. Hall then replied that he had not stolen from anyone, he just took longer than expected to pay all of them back. Later that year, there were multiple Twitter threads detailed from people who worked with Todrick Hall in the past making similar allegations, including a choreographer named Tom White, who worked with him on the Nails, Hair, Hips, Heels video, claiming that during their time together, Todrick Hall had made anti-black statements and also did not pay his dancers. Todrick Hall's former assistant Tommy McKissick also has similar claims, telling Business Insider that he stopped working for Hall in January of 2019 after Todrick did not pay him for 2 months worth of expenses, including his own back pay. It's worth noting here that McKissick says that Hall did eventually pay him what he was owed after McKissick pressured him to do so via text messages. McKissick has some other claims about Todrick Hall in regards to sexual misconduct, but we will come back to those in a later section of this video. But to wrap up the scamming allegations that are centered in this article, Business Insider also spoke to 3 other people who claim to have not been paid by Todrick Hall after doing work for him, and popular drag queen and entertainer Manila Luzon also claims that Todrick never paid her for a party that she hosted. Now, is it possible that all of these people who Business Insider spoke to decided to run with some collective rumor that they saw on Twitter about Todrick not paying people? Sure, I guess, but all of these stories have very kind of similar threads, and I just can't think of a reason why any of these people would want to lie about that. What strikes me about the situation is that Todrick has always kind of been sort of like a grinder, like he is constantly doing all these events and all these things and all these big productions, and like if you don't have a solid management team behind you to execute stuff like that, of course, like little tasks like paying the people who work for you are going to build up. And it seems that these alleged accounting and money troubles don't just stop at compensation for employees, because in 2022, Todrick Hall was sued for $60,000 in back rent by landlords in California for a mansion he previously claimed to have bought for himself. In fact, we're going to stick with the year 2022 in the timeline here because it proved to be a very tumultuous time for Todrick. Did he lose a family member? No. Did he get into more legal troubles? Nope. He decided to go on Celebrity Big Brother. Okay, so believe it or not, I am not an avid Big Brother watcher, but what you need to know in this context is that it's a popular reality show. Todrick Hall was on a celebrity season of it, and a big aspect of it is that all of the viewing for the audience is live. It's not kind of like a pre-recorded, edited show that airs, later on, like something like Drag Race. Now, to me, Todrick's appearance on this show is kind of an insane move and limits any kind of sympathy that I would normally ever have for somebody in his position, because the way that Celebrity Big Brother works, it operates as a show that can expose your vulnerabilities and your shortcomings in real time. And personally, if I had a reputation in Hollywood for not paying my dancers or scamming kids out of money, I probably would not go on a show like that. But the thing that is so fascinating to me about Todrick is that he is addicted to the limelight, he is obsessed with playing the villain, to the point where it's like so unself-aware that it almost wraps back around to being performance art.
Mom, I know you're asleep, but maybe somebody will record this and play it for you. I love you. To all my dancers, thank you so much for working. Really, my paid dancers, by the way. To all my paid dancers, I hope that you guys are having a good time in rehearsal. I hope that you're coming up with good stuff. I can't wait to watch it and listen to it.
And if you thought Todrick was unlikable before, he really amped it up for Celebrity Big Brother, saying and doing things including but not limited to admitting that he arbitrarily charges for videos on the popular app Cameo and uses the same script for each one, repeating the words "don't be too hard on me now" to model and fellow contestant Shanna Moakler, who apparently had previously opened up to the group about a really triggering experience where a home invader said that same phrase to her, and talking shit about Chris Kirkpatrick's son.
And I was like, and your son, when he sees this, is not going to be proud of you. Like, you said you wanted to be a good example for your wife and your son. You have embarrassed them. And if your son saw this, he would be like, you betrayed your team, daddy.
Now, I, of all people, can always excuse a little reality TV villainy, but Todrick's behavior in the Big Brother house did not exactly do wonders for his already sinking reputation. After the season wrapped up, Todrick took to Instagram to talk about his feelings about the season, once again mentioning that all of his employees remain paid, and that the show was overall pretty negative to his mental health. Now, unfortunately, we cannot just stop this video at haha, isn't reality TV dumb? Because over the years, Todrick has also accumulated some pretty serious allegations in the realm of sexual misconduct. So naturally, this is my trigger warning for this topic. There are timestamps in the description down below to navigate to the next section. Please take care of yourself. Let's quickly jump back to Todrick Hall's former assistant, Tommy McKissick, who claims that one of Hall's friends, Tester Lockhart, assaulted McKissick on the Straight Outta Oz tour, which is one of Todrick's tours back in 2016. According to McKissick, he told Todrick about this incident where Lockhart put his hand down his pants, and claims that he was punished by Todrick for that, and that Todrick threatened to, quote, expose him on the internet and weaponizing his fans to do so. McKissick and another one of Todrick Hall's previous assistants, Dana Davis, have since taken to TikTok to discuss their relationship with Hall over the years, and in one of those TikToks is a recent and pretty serious allegation about Todrick Hall and an alleged interaction that he had with a minor in London. Now, I'm going to play you the full clip and then we'll talk a little bit more about it, but just keep in mind that at the time of recording this, I cannot independently verify the audio that is claimed to be leaked in this clip.
And he was 16 years old. You're like, no. And his parents were like, yeah, it's fine, because in London, it's 16 is legal. Yeah. And I know that R. Kelly's in that situation. He definitely girls on him, but there's a couple of those girls that are like, that he had with in London, where technically...
Yes, that was the infamous Todrick Hall on the recording talking about hooking up with a 16-year-old. For context, at the filming of this video, Todrick is 40 years old. This is beyond reprehensible, and this recording was released by Dana Davis, one of his former assistants.
Hi, I'm Dana Davis, Todrick Hall's former assistant from 2021.
Many people know me as Todrick's former assistant, and Dana actually came after me. I've been speaking out against Todrick for many years, and I cooperated with the Insider during their investigatory report, as well as releasing all Todrick's settled lawsuits with former assistants and managers.
Now, here's the thing about this audio. This audio was not released from this guy, Tommy McKissick. It was claimed to have been released from another assistant named Dana Davis, who, as you heard in that video, was Todrick's assistant in 2021. Dana Davis has since deleted that original video, although as you can see, the stitch of it still exists. Now hear me out, this could very well be real, but it also could be fake considering that you do not see Todrick speaking in the clip, you just hear him. And not that it necessarily matters, but the context in which this was recorded remains unclear, and I'm not bringing that up in terms of the actual subject matter of the conversation, because that is obviously pretty gross whether it's taken out of context or not. I mean that in the context of how this was recorded, whether or not it was recorded in a one-party or two-party consent state, and whether or not Todrick knew he was being recorded at the time. All of those factors may have contributed to this video being deleted by Dana Davis. I'm not sure, I don't know. So of course I'm including these allegations here because I'm trying to be thorough, but I personally, at the time of recording this video, do not have enough evidence to verify that this call is 100% real. And if that sounds crazy to you, you'd be surprised at what people are able to fake. I'm just saying. I also, I'm trying to do my due diligence here and not get sued. Fun fact, the most difficult class I ever took in my master's program was a course on media law. I still have nightmares about the case briefs I have to write up, but the good news is that the bar for what's considered defamation here in the US is incredibly fucking high. Congratulations, America, you did approximately one thing right. Now let's catch up to present day, where Todrick has apparently found himself in some trouble again for allegedly scamming people.
Todrick Hall is asking fans for money because he says his family's house has burned down. In the GoFundMe, he says, typically I would be the person to step up to the plate to help, but as a performer who's just recovering from the pandemic and the union strike myself, there's only so much I can do. Now this was just 3 days ago. He set a goal to raise $10,000, which he has already hit. But last night in Los Angeles, he threw a birthday party. There was a petting zoo, horses to take photos on, a mechanical bull, at least 3 drag performers, a tattoo artist, multiple photo stations. This is the one that you stand on and it spins around you to make a video. Another photo booth. Cakes like this in Los Angeles don't cost less than $500. And that's not even including any of the booze. There were a lot of people there. And actually, he's not wearing $10,000 worth of Cartier. He's wearing $24,000 worth of Cartier. I know we're all empaths, but there's legit con men out here, and you guys need to be careful where you're spending your money.
Side note, I feel like anytime I cover any kind of controversy in the gay community, I always end up featuring a video from this TikTok creator. I don't know what it is, like he's always at the scene of the crime. But yeah, those are the majority of the controversies that Todrick Hall has been in to date. Like I said before, I mostly felt compelled to make this video because I feel like Todrick has been a character that has just kind of like been around in pop culture for a while, and there's surprisingly a lot of misinformation out there, or unsurprisingly, I guess. And I'm personally not here to tell you to stop supporting him if you like his music, or to stop supporting people you like who are friends with him. You know, live your life the way you want it. There are way bigger things that I personally could be lecturing you about right now. But what I do believe in is people having all of the information necessary to make an informed choice about who they do support. And if I can use my platform to cut through some of that misinformation, I think that is a net good at the end of the day. Todrick is the first to admit that he's not perfect. At the end of the day, none of us are. We've all made mistakes. But from my perspective, Todrick seems like a person who truly can't analyze his own mistakes and shortcomings because he's busy chasing the next big thing. And he can play the villain all he wants, but if he claims to be as misunderstood as he is, then he can't really be surprised when people treat him like one.